Hi guys, thanks for joining me in another video tutorial. Today's lesson is creating a web gallery in 5 minutes. I'm Agustealo, and I'll be your video tutor for this lesson. No matter what your experience level is in web design or Photoshop, if you could tie your shoelace, you'll be sure to follow along. I'll be working on a gallery of all the pictures I've taken and edited of the pretty flowers around my property. First things first, let's load Photoshop. Now Photoshop has made this process extremely easy. You don't even need to load the images within Photoshop in order to do this. First thing you need to do is click on File, scroll down to Automate, then you want to select Web Photo Gallery. Okay, when this dialog box pulls up, it's going to ask you several different information. The first information it needs is for you to select the style that you're looking for your gallery. Now you select from this pull down menu of different styles, and if you look on your right hand side, you'll be seeing a icon preview of what these themes will look like. Now once you select your style, it'll ask you for additional information that you may need to incorporate within your gallery. It's asking for an email information. You could choose to put an email in here if you'd like. The next set of information it's asking is for source images. Now for source, do you want to use a folder or other options that the program might have? I choose to use a folder, and I'm going to browse for my folder. Okay, you also could choose to use subfolders within that folder that you already selected. It's asking you for a destination folder. A destination folder is where these images and file will be stored. I'm going to create a new folder for this, and I'll call this gallery. Okay, the next set of question it's going to ask you is the different options that it has. Got a general option for the extension you want to use on your HTML file. You got HTML or HTML. I choose to use HTML. It also asks you additional information as far as, do you want to use a UTF-8 encoding for your URL? Do you want to add width and height attribute for images? Do you want to preserve all meta tag? It gives you a banner option as well. For your banner option, it's asking what is the name of your site, the photographer, any contact information you choose to have up on there, and a date that you wish to enter. Now the next set of option is large images. It's asking for information and how do you want the program to process the large images. From the pull down menu on resize images, you have small, medium, large, or custom. I'm going to use a custom setting and enter 600 pixels. This is my maximum size. This is what I want my large image to look like. Now, do you want to use this 600 pixel information to constrain both height and width, or do you want width? If I choose width, then 600 pixels would be the widest my image would be, but it would not constrain my height. So my height could be as long as it want, but my width would only be 600 pixels. Or I could constrain my height, which is vice versa. 600 pixels will be the highest my image would be, but there would be no constraint on my width. I want to go ahead and choose both. Now for JPEG quality, for a gallery I always want to use the maximum. A maximum by default is going to say 10. Just go ahead and change that to 12. Now for your title information on your images, you could choose to use the title of your file name, description, credits, title, or copyright. For this demonstration, I'm just going to use file name. Go down to thumbnail. It's asking for the size of your thumbnail and the maximum pixels. How many columns and how many rows? I have 5 columns, 5 rows. You could add custom colors, and these are for text, link, active link, visited link, the banner, and the background. Now depending on what gallery you selected, these areas may be grayed out. Security information. Now on your security information, you can enter copyright information, description, credit, title, or just custom text. I'll leave this for none. You can go ahead and play around with that. Now once you're done, you select OK. In Photoshop, we'll go ahead and try to process these images. Now once Photoshop is finished creating your web gallery, it goes ahead and pulls it up in your default web browser. Now let's take a look at what Photoshop did here. We have our banner information, name of our photographer, today's date, that email address we entered with a link, and if you notice, the icons are the size that were specified. It went ahead and created the amount of row and columns that we entered, and Photoshop generated the appropriate amount of page for these images that are in that folder. Now this is page 1, page 2, and if you click on the images, notice the large image is the exact size that we specified. Photoshop also go ahead and create different navigational buttons for us. That's home. We have next and previous, and if you look at the bottom here, that's that title information that I checked for Photoshop to use. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this, and this is the folder, that destination folder that Photoshop stored all the files and images that were used to generate this web gallery. In our image folder, it has our large images as well as our navigational buttons and our CSS style that is used to control the look and feel of this gallery. It has different pages, and just by looking at the amount of pages that are used, 1 page per image, you could see how tedious this process would be if it was done manually. Here's also a thumbnail folder, which is always important to keep your thumbnail folder separately from your image folder because things could get really clustered and confusing. Here's those 2 pages that we looked at, page 1, page 2. Went ahead and create JavaScript and other scripts that may be needed for this gallery. So there you have it, a web gallery in 5 minutes using Photoshop. You could see this and other videos at artwarriors.com on photography, Photoshop, graphic design, and web design.